Rosenheim, Bavaria. November 1967. Inside a routine law office on Königstrasse, the phones were making calls no one had dialed. The fluorescent lights were exploding in sequence. The power company had sent engineers twice already. They had no explanation. Neither did the police. So someone called the physicists. The office belonged to lawyer Sigmund Adam. Starting in the summer of 1967, his staff reported constant disruptions, fuses blowing without cause, fluorescent tubes unscrewing themselves from their sockets, and photocopier fluid spilling with no one nearby. The local utility, Stadtwerk Rosenheim, logged repeated unexplained power surges on their external monitoring equipment. The phone situation was harder to dismiss. The post office installed a separate meter to monitor calls from the building. It recorded hundreds of calls to the speaking clock, the time of day service, often 4 or 5 per minute. The line was documented making calls faster than a human hand could physically dial. Several occurred when the office was nearly empty. Physicist F.W. Karger from the Max Planck Institute and colleague Karger and Zicha arrived in December 1967 with measuring equipment. They installed independent monitoring on the electrical system. What they recorded were voltage spikes unlike anything explained by the building's wiring. The surges didn't match any known external interference pattern. Their preliminary report noted the phenomena were, in their words, genuinely anomalous. Parapsychologist Hans Bender from the University of Freiburg joined the investigation. He noticed something the physicists had also begun to note: the disruptions were most intense when a specific employee was present, 19-year-old secretary Anne-Marie Schäberl. When she was absent, the office was quiet. When she returned, so did the phenomena. Bender documented the physical events in detail. Heavy pictures hanging on the walls were observed rotating up to 360 degrees. A large decorative cabinet moved away from the wall. These events were witnessed by multiple staff members, the investigating scientists, and on at least 2 occasions, by visiting journalists. Several occurrences were captured on film by a German television crew. Schäberl herself was distressed by the attention. She did not claim to cause the events and reportedly found the situation frightening and disruptive. She was interviewed extensively by Bender's team. They noted she was under significant personal stress at the time, unhappy in her job, and in a difficult relationship. Bender documented this psychological context carefully without drawing a direct causal conclusion. Karger and Zicha published their findings in a 1968 paper. They confirmed the electrical anomalies were real and measurable, ruled out building faults and external interference, and stated they could not identify a physical cause. Bender catalogued over 40 distinct witnessed events. When Schäberl left the job in early 1968, the disturbances at the Rosenheim office stopped. They did not follow her to her next workplace permanently, though minor incidents were reported briefly. The mundane explanations proposed included static electricity, underground water pipes causing vibration, and deliberate fraud by Schäberl. Investigators specifically tested for and ruled out vibration sources. Fraud was considered, but the phone meter recordings occurred in her absence and the electrical surges were captured on independent equipment she had no access to. Karger later said the case remained, to him, unexplained. The Rosenheim case remains one of the few poltergeist investigations where the phenomena were recorded by independent scientific instruments, not just witness accounts. Bender coined the term recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis partly in response to cases like this one. The equipment data still exists. The paper is still cited. Anne-Marie Schäberl was never charged with anything. So what do you think? Is there a rational explanation, or is something else going on? Drop a comment below, and if you've had an encounter of your own, we want to hear about it. Subscribe to WT Historical for more documented cases from the edge of history.